Coach, this past weekend, big win over Midwestern State, and then dropped the game against Lubbock Christian. Just talk about what you saw from your team this past week.
Yeah, we've been talking about resiliency this whole season, and I fully believe that this team is definitely that. And that game against Midwestern on Thursday night, I was concerned about the rebounds, and we got Zaria, number 0, into some foul trouble, which helped us a lot. And that was one of the things that we talked about. She's a great player, and felt like we shut her down well, and that was a key to that win on Thursday. Still not real happy with our rebounding. They killed us. I think they were doubling us at halftime that game, which is something that we just got to get better at, along with the turnovers. But overall, I feel like we knocked down some hard shots. Magic came in and had a massive night on Thursday as a freshman, which I was really proud of. We found a play that was working for her, and we always tell them, like, if a play is working, why go away from it? And that's what we went to, and we continued to execute that. And she came in with the chip on her shoulder and really played well that game. So
on Saturday against Lubbock Christian, you had an 11-game winning streak snap. So what went wrong in the second half, given that it was a 1-point game at halftime?
Yeah, and we've been a fourth quarter team. We've played that quarter really well up until Saturday. I have to give a lot of credit to Lubbock Christian. They just execute so well, and they're going to find any kind of mistakes you make defensively, and they're going to get the ball in the right person's hand. Obviously, that was Grace on Saturday, and we just got to do better as a coaching staff with our game plan. We've got to execute. When we do put that game plan in place, we got to make sure that, especially our younger ones, are executing that game plan and knowing what we want. Our young players haven't faced a team like that we saw on Saturday yet, and so all those small things that we talk about every day, you have to do those things, and you've got to do things right, everything right, because if you don't against a team like that, they make you pay for it. I do feel like, I felt pretty good going into the fourth because we were still in the game, and we've been a fourth quarter team, and we just made too many defensive mistakes, and our shots weren't falling like they usually do, and theirs were. And at the end of the day, that was a big factor.
So what was it, in your vision, what was it about this previous fourth quarter against Lubbock Christian that led to the comeback falling short versus previous weeks where it seemed like the girls thrived more under pressure?
Well, one thing that we noticed is, if you noticed early, we were getting to the hole. We attacked the rim, and we were getting shots, and we were getting looks down low, and I felt like we stopped attacking. We kind of went into a passive mode that I hadn't seen in the past, and we've talked about, as we speak, they're watching that. And we've got to make sure that we just continue to not play to not lose, but to go win, and I felt like we took a step back in that area in the fourth quarter. They're back on track now, and they understand what we can and can't do, but you got to get to the rim, you got to score while the clock is stopped. And then also Lubbock Christian just kept making great plays, and I just didn't feel like we call them kills, 3 stops in a row. We couldn't get that in the fourth quarter, and we usually do. We have to at that point, right, when you're behind, and we weren't getting those.
So in those final 6 minutes, you all go, or the final 6 minutes without making a field goal. So I guess you pretty much touched on it, but what causes, was it more hurried possessions, not getting any good looks?
Yeah, I think that, we can't force things that aren't there. We have done such a great job of letting the game come to us, and we didn't do that. We were forcing things that weren't there. And then also, we've got to be smart about the clock. We've got to be savvy with where we are in the quarter, and when we're wanting a 2-for-1 or we're wanting to score quick, we've got to be in attack mode. I felt like we pulled back in those situations, and we can't do that. And they kept getting stuff in transition. We tried to go with that press, and I feel like they got some shots in transition there that we don't normally give up, and just not as aggressive in our press, and we just got to have a sense of urgency during those times.
What was the vibe like in the locker room post game? How have you guys been regrouping before you head on the road this week?
I think that they're fully aware that they weren't at their best during that game. They weren't happy, obviously. I did go over, like, you know, when a team like that enters the building, you got to for sure walk into that gym knowing that you're the best team and fully believing it. And they did that. They did that. I don't think we did that very well. I think that team is very beatable. I think that we can, in the future, play them a whole lot better than what we did, and they believe that as well. We just had way too many defensive mistakes. We weren't communicating, and that is something that this team has struggled with, is communicating and being on the same page defensively, and they were mad about that. And that's one thing I made them speak up about, is why are we not talking in transition, because that's what led ultimately to Grace's shots. Is she got 5 uncontested 3-point shot. You can't let a player like that get hot, and she did. She saw one fall early, and it was a monster after that. Even if you are there now, she's going to hit it because her confidence is up. So that's the main thing that, and for the young ones, that's the hard lesson to learn. It's just something that we've got to work every day on. We're going to work on it a lot today. And then not turning your back on the defense, because when you turn your back on defense, they cut and score. So
what do you expect to see in this upcoming matchup versus St. Mary's specifically?
You know, I think the main thing is they run the floor well. They're athletic. They have a great inside-out presence. I've known that coach for a long time, and I know she's going to have them working hard. And I've always been a firm believer in hard work's going to beat talent. So no matter what they throw on the floor, they're going to try to win the game. And so we've got to be, of course, 10 points better than usual, just because it's on the road. But also, I think the main thing is we just got to make sure that we execute what we do best this weekend, which is getting the ball down the court fast, looking for shots in transition. And if we don't have a high percentage shot, we've got to be smart enough to kick it back out and run and execute some offense and get high percentage shots. It is going to be a key that we get the ball inside, because I think that we have an advantage in both games this weekend, an advantage inside, and, you know, be smart with our kickouts. We got to have a great inside outlook this weekend.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.